You're standing in a Roman wine cellar 2,000 years ago, and what's fermenting in front of you is about to become more valuable than the land it grew on. Why did an entire empire build its economy around a fruit? Wild grapevines have grown across the Caucasus region, near modern-day Georgia and Armenia, for millions of years, but archaeological evidence shows humans began deliberately cultivating them around 6000 BCE. Recent chemical analysis of ancient pottery in this region found residue confirming wine production dating back roughly 8,000 years, making it one of the oldest deliberately fermented beverages ever discovered. Grapes weren't just food. From almost the very beginning, they were technology. Ancient Egypt turned grape cultivation into a matter of the afterlife itself. Egyptian tomb paintings dating back over 4,000 years depict detailed winemaking scenes, and archaeologists have found wine jars labeled with vineyard names and vintage years, sealed inside royal tombs including Tutankhamun's. Egyptians weren't just drinking wine. They were tracking it with a level of detail that wouldn't look out of place on a modern wine label. Ancient Greece elevated the grape into full-blown religious devotion. Dionysus, the god of wine, commanded one of the most widely worshipped cults in the ancient world, and Greek symposiums, formal wine-drinking gatherings, became central to philosophy and social life. Rome then transformed grape cultivation from religious ritual into economic infrastructure. As the empire expanded starting in the 1st century BCE, legions planted vineyards deliberately alongside military roads, partly to supply soldiers, and partly to establish permanent economic footholds in newly conquered territory. This expansion created a problem serious enough to reach the emperor himself. By 92 CE, Roman vineyard production had grown so extensive that Emperor Domitian ordered half of all provincial vineyards destroyed, specifically to protect struggling Roman grain production back home. Grapes had become so economically dominant that an emperor felt compelled to legally limit how much land could grow them. When Rome collapsed in the 5th century, an unlikely institution kept European viticulture alive: the Catholic Church. Monasteries across France, Germany, and Italy maintained vineyards throughout the medieval period, partly for sacramental wine, and partly as reliable income. Monks meticulously documented growing techniques, quietly preserving winemaking knowledge through centuries when much of Europe's other technical knowledge was being lost. Grape cultivation crossed the Atlantic through Spanish colonization starting in the 1500s, with missionaries planting the first vineyards in the Americas specifically for sacramental wine. What began as strict religious necessity eventually evolved into massive commercial wine industries that dominate global production today. Then, in the mid-1800s, European vineyards faced near-total catastrophe. A microscopic insect called phylloxera, accidentally introduced from North America, began devastating French grapevines starting in the 1860s, eventually destroying an estimated 40% of French vineyards within just a few decades. Entire regions that had produced wine for over 1,000 years were wiped out almost overnight by an organism too small to see with the naked eye. The solution came from the very continent that caused the crisis. Scientists discovered that grafting vulnerable European grapevines onto resistant North American rootstock allowed vines to survive phylloxera entirely. Remarkably, most wine grapes grown across the world today, including in France's most prestigious regions, still grow on North American rootstock grafted beneath European vines. So think back to that Roman cellar from the beginning, wine fermenting in vessels that would soon become more valuable than the land itself. From Egyptian tombs, to an emperor legally restricting vineyards, to monks preserving the craft through Europe's darkest centuries, to a microscopic insect that nearly ended it all, the grape's history reaches far beyond flavor. Every bottle of wine today carries roughly 8,000 years of empire, religion, near extinction, and quiet survival inside it.